a feature debut, with the 2018 well-received found-footage horror film The Devil's Doorway. Her latest film marks a major milestone for the genre, as Frewaka is composed of almost exclusively Irish Gaelic dialogue, the first horror movie to do so. Led by Small Things Like These star Claire Monnelly, Frewaka revolves around Shu, a young woman who, while in the midst of processing the sudden death of her mother by suicide, is assigned to be the home care worker for an agoraphobic elderly woman, Paig, in a remote Northern Ireland village. As the two spend more time with one another, and Shu learns about Paig's suspicions of a sinister group of entities known as the NA side, she finds the demons from her past bleeding into the horrors of her present situation. Ahead of the movie's release, Screen Rant interviewed Aislinn Clarke to discuss Frewaka. The writer-director opened up about how she sought to reconnect to her roots through the film, particularly with it being almost entirely written in Irish Gaelic, as well as how she focused on what scared the crap out of her as a kid about the NA side rather than diving into folklorish studies about them. Clarke also offered her insight on the movie's ending and how it ties into its larger exploration of social and generational trauma. While Clarke has made movies in her home country before, Frewaka comes with the unique element of being the first ever Irish-language horror movie. In reflecting on her decision to pen the script in Irish Gaelic, Clarke points to her father being a major influence on her at a young age, as all of her education was through the medium of Irish and was raised speaking the Irish language, as it was this big thing for her dad. Even with this background, Clarke admits she had never really considered making a film in the Irish language through her early career, until the producers of a film she wrote, but didn't direct, approached her with the idea. The director then took to contemplating the idea, though immediately gave herself the directive that she didn't want to just do it for no reason, nor did she want to take an English-language script I had and just translate it. Instead, she developed the idea from the ground up, which became her personal lens on Ireland, our creepy folklore and our equally creepy history. Clarke pulled more from her own memory than research for the NA side. I was raised steeped in this folklore. Claire Monnelly as Shu looking worried over her shoulder in the bathtub in Frewaka. With Ireland having plenty of folklore and mythology to pull from, Clarke found herself drawn to the NA side to be Frewaka's primary threat for a few different reasons. One of the first was her own fears of them as a child, in which she was steeped in this folklore, pointing out that while other cultures would describe the entities as fairies like Tinker Bell, they're considered malevolent and almost demonic in Irish folklore, which made them a presence in my life that I was worried about all the time. Another reason Clarke wanted to explore the NA side was her desire to explore what is their problem, particularly with the Irish people. They really have a problem with us, they really want us to suffer, Clarke explained. It's like the Irish invented this race of people that we colonized and pushed underground as a sort of form of self-harm, because we were colonized. It's like we invented these mythical creatures that we did that to that feel just as SY about that as we do. The Irish are very into masochism, beating ourselves up, so that's where they came from. Though finding that they proved to be a good metaphor to explore social trauma and her country's history, Clarke intentionally didn't get the big book of Irish folklore for writing the NA side into her film. Instead, the writer-director relied on her memory, noting how folklore is a living thing and is generally handed down by word of mouth over generations, in which every teller has their own little twist. Claire Monnelly was a rare discovery for Clarke. The Frewaka director also praised her star for having totally inhabited her character. Claire Monnelly as Shu answering the phone in Frewaka. As the movie is a personal journey for Clarke, Frewaka protagonist, Shu, is as much of a lens on the country's folklore, which made her casting all the more important for the writer-director. After humorously recalling her concerns that it would be really hard to find an actor who could speak Irish, as some of them won't be any good, Clarke praised Claire Monnelly as being super easy to cast in the film, particularly after she had a supporting role in a previous project Clarke wrote. Claire Monnelly, who plays Shu, is really magnificent, Clarke beamed. She just completely became Shu, totally inhabited her. Frewaka is her first lead role, but I knew that she existed because of that other film, and spoke to her pretty early on. I spoke to other actors, as well, but it was kind of always going to be Claire, and she is just the right person. She just totally inhabits that character, she's really powerful, a great presence on the screen. I think we're going to see her in tons more stuff, as well. In reflecting on what her star brought to the role that she hadn't already envisioned for the character, Clarke admitted having almost forgot what existed before the movie was made, given a production evolves and becomes its own thing. Instead, she praised Monnelly for bringing a kind of playfulness to Shu, particularly as she always imagined Shu as being this sort of spiky character. In addition to its compelling concept and moving performances, Folklore also boasts a very unique visual style, utilizing alternative camera angles for its more fantastical elements and close-ups for its more paranoia-driven scenes. In reflecting on developing the visual palette for the film, Clarke praised her collaboration with cinematographer Narayan Van Maile, who also worked with Kate Dolan on You Are Not My Mother and the upcoming Som 8Te, calling him a genius and for having a wonderful eye. In addition to Maile, Clarke pointed to art director Nicola Moroni as being a key factor in developing the movie's look, celebrating her having done a phenomenal job of creating the world of the film. She did, however, also point out how the house they shot the movie in was crazy, leaving most of its furnishings in place, including the attic scene in the climax, in which the team put a couple of pieces of taxidermy and 1 or 2 pictures, and only redecorated entirely a couple of rooms.